The content, views, and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the City of Bremerton, BCAT, their officials, or their employees. Hello, I'm Elise of Joyful Plant, and welcome to Gardening Through Art. Today we observe like a gardener and draw like an artist. We see plants and render their forms from sprout to bloom, then from fruit to seed, discovering how each stage reveals nature's alluring life cycles. Let's begin. To follow along at home, you can use a piece of paper, a pencil or charcoal, a blender, an eraser, and a subject. Drawing plants may seem to some like an insurmountable goal, or perhaps something you do daily. If you're new to botanical sketching, one trick is to reduce the form to a familiar shape. Isolating small sections of a botanical subject can allow you to observe curves, ovals, and cones that can be further broken down into C-strokes, S-strokes, and shading. Just like a first draft of writing, it is important that you do not harshly judge your drawing or yourself for the attempt. Each natural observation has more intrinsic value in its production than we often realize. We set up an ergonomic workstation so it's easy to observe the plant and to draw it. So I will begin by creating a value scale, first with the vine charcoal, and have the lightest lights on one side and the darkest darks on this side. And begin by any type of squiggle that feels right. And right now we're just getting a sense for the medium, what that feels like, and becoming comfortable with using some pressure to get some of those darkest of the dark values here. You can use different types of hatch marks or shading. The idea is to create a scale and get comfortable with that medium. And we'll do the same thing with the vine charcoal. We'll do the same thing with the compressed charcoal. So you can see this one has been pulverized. It can be used on its side. And you can be really free in the creation of your marks here. Just wanting to get comfortable with it. This one is compressed charcoal. And the vine charcoal is often used with willows. We can begin by making some C-strokes, S-strokes, ovals, use some cones. Combine the C-strokes and S-strokes. Begin to make some leaf shapes. And play with your hatching. The goal of art is never going to be any semblance of perfection. It's an observation of nature, and you can use infinite variety in expressing yourself through this medium. You can also use a blending tool so that can create dimension or soften some edges. Just taking some time to get comfortable with your tools ends up being worthwhile when you start to observe. Try to be as free as possible. Children give us good lessons in this type of artistic freedom. We don't have to have it come out the way we expect it to come out. It is inherently worthwhile in the process. And just playing a little bit with the different types of forms that you can make can help you in the long run. You can doodle some flowers. That makes you happy. So we're going to observe some of linden and some of a raspberry. And we also have this orchid nearby. You can begin with a new page. And you might start with a little bit of a sketch of the central stem. Nice light touch. Get a sense for what direction it's going. Maybe even where it connects to the other part of the plant, how the leaf is shaped. This linden is a large tree, and it produces thousands of these tiny, beautiful flowers that are frequently visited by bees this time of year. If you stand under it, it feels like it is buzzing. And it is such a sweet smell, especially in the sun. Makes excellent tea. And you can harvest it right about the times that the flower buds are just opening. These little sepals and petals are starting to dry up. They're no longer needed. If it was pollinated, it was most likely visited by bees. It can be really satisfying just to create dimension just by making circles. You can be very general about it. And you can even work the blending stump just a little bit to create some dimension. You can imagine where your light is coming from and make sure that that is the brighter side. And then you can reinforce that. There's rich, deep, dark values here. And when we approach a space with a gardener's eye, it gives us some indication of what is fun to do. It probably will either be fun to explore, might smell good, might taste good, much like this raspberry. And we can see here there are some sepals and also even some tiny little anthers that had been holding pollen to attract the bees. So observing these processes from the flower to the fruit and the seed inside the fruit can help us and also help our children understand where our food comes from, what our nature's process is that help us enjoy food, have delicious feasts on our tables. And you don't have to be young to learn gardening, but if you learn it at a young age, it becomes really second nature. And we start to know inherently different parts of the year where when the linden is in bloom, the berries start to become in bloom. And then it's almost time to cut the hayfield and pick up hay. And we start with strawberries in June and then raspberries in July. And you can observe the different ways the plants interact with each other and with humans just by noticing what they're doing certain times of the year. You can use a little bit of an eraser to add a little bit of texture or interest. You get to know the shapes of the leaves so that you know what you're seeing in different times of the year. And you can go back to your work just a little bit. It's really nice to keep those sketches primitive, not too overworked. Helps loosen you as an artist to let your hand relax and play with what it observes. And remember, perfection is not the goal. In fact, it's not possible. Be good to our place, and it will be good to you. Thank you. Today we enjoyed drawing plant processes, which help us see nature's alluring adaptation. Thank you for joining us. You're invited to share your work on social media with the hashtag gardeningthroughart and find more tutorials on joyfulplant.com. See you next time.